What's up YouTube? Today we are looking at UVI's new content pack, SUPER-7. It's a multi-sample kind of recreation of the ROLAND MKS-7. It was a rack mount unit which kind of borrowed some of its layer architecture from the Juno 106, but also its drum section, its rhythm section. It borrowed a couple of layers from the TR-707. So for this kind of like retro synthwavy type of stuff, which I've been getting into quite a bit lately, it is almost the perfect thing. And one of the cool things about it is UVI have created such a huge variety of really cool kind of like starting points and presets, as well as a nice little kind of like init kind of patch to like start building your own presets and stuff. But also the way that they've designed the synth is you can kind of dive in there and change all the stuff. So I'm going to try and outline how cool this new content pack is in this video. Let's dive in and have a look. So I've got the Synthwave track here, which I've kind of built using this Synthwave template, which I've been building for a little while. It's got a bass and some drums already in there. But one of the cool things about the SUPER-7 pack is that all of these sounds kind of come with a huge variety of like rhythms and basses and stuff to, you know, either inspire you, get you started, or you can remove them or change them to kind of do a multitude of things. So first and foremost, I want to show you kind of the vibe of some of these presets. And, you know, one thing to just bear in mind is I'm just holding one single note here. So all the arpeggiators and sequencing and everything is done within the actual preset. So this is just that kind of like single note stuff. There are a couple of kind of things to go in and create your own layers and sort of multiple things which you can create from scratch. But I think when you're looking for like a specific like inspiration from a specific style of music, for example, synthwave or tech house or, you know, something like that, funk or disco, you can very quickly get some inspiration, get a little hook line or something going, which you can then layer your own sounds over, or, you know, you can take the sound, recreate the lead or melody or something like that. So anyway, let's have a listen to some of these sounds. So here, like you see, you've got all these different layers, the rhythm layers along the bottom here. You can go and actually change the volume of each layer. And then you've got the synth layers along the top here, bass, melody, and all the different sound effects and that kind of thing. You can mute these, solo these to hear what each one is doing, or to render a single one out or something like that. But you can also, you see this little cog icon here, you can click here and you can actually dive in and edit each of these particular layers. For example, if you want to change the notes of the bass line or melody or something like that, you can do that. So this is really cool for, you know, say for example, for just getting some inspiration as a starting point and then, you know, moving on from there. So here we've got a bunch of rhythms built in, which make things a little bit easier. We can send this MIDI out into a MIDI track in case we actually want to trigger it via actual MIDI or change the notes themselves, which is pretty interesting. So here, let's go in and let's mute some of these layers so we can just focus in on this rhythm layer. Say, for example, we've already got like a signature kick and snare kind of sound that we want to kind of use in our project. What we can do is we can actually go in and mute each of these layers on this rhythm section individually. So we can remove the kick and snare, for example, and then layer in our own kick and snare from our template or something like that. So I'm just going to do that. Let's actually just remove the hi-hats here and unsolo everything. So I've got kick, snare, crash, and a few other things. Okay, so let's have a look at the melody section over here. So there's a couple of things we can do. We can choose presets for particular kind of sequences and that kind of thing. Or we can choose presets on particular sounds, or we can actually dive in here and change the sound a little bit. You've got parameters here in terms of like the filters and that kind of thing, and you've also got envelopes of the filters. So you can take, for example, like a pad sound and create a pluck and all sorts of stuff. So there's quite a bit you can do in terms of the sound design, as well as just, you know, if you want to just use this layer as an sort of inspiration for a track, just ripping a layer out, or actually using this as a means to create a idea which you can then build on. You know, a lot of the time with these kind of, particularly with these kind of more old school genres, a lot of the times the creative limitations are what made a lot of the signature sounds in those genres quite memorable. For example, if you listen to kind of like old school drum and bass, it was quite minimal, and the vocals were always like sped up and stuff like that. And it's because of the limited amount of time that they had to actually sample stuff. So because of memory and that kind of thing being limited back in those days, so they had to like speed samples up so that they could fit more on their samplers and that kind of thing. So just a random thing about like how, you know, using something like this is probably going to just paint you into a paradigm which you're going to create a type of music which is similar to the type of thing that you would created with the actual hardware unit, for example. So I think here with the bass, what I want to do is I don't want to use the bass in this actual preset or this like kind of multi that we've been creating here. I kind of got this signature kind of synthwave bass that I've also been creating with this template. I do have a tutorial on this kind of bass if you do want to check that out. I'm going to post a link in over here so you can check that out. Anyway, so let's mute this bass, and then what we can do is we can actually render out this little rhythm section that we created and this melody section that we created with maybe some modulation on the filter or something like that, and then we can have a look at some of the other presets in the pack. Okay, let's have a listen to some more of these presets. So bear in mind, this is just me holding down a single note, and the rest of all the sequencing is done within the actual presets themselves. Oh, that one is so good. This Ravers Die Hard, and also this Newt Sombre. I actually want to rip the melodies from these ones real quick. Cool, that sounds great. Okay, so I'm just going to cycle through a bunch of the other presets and some of the other categories just to show you guys sort of the capabilities of these sounds, and yeah. So SUPER-7 is not just like full multis and ready to go kind of track sequences and that kind of thing. There's also single sounds, and well, what they call in this pack, they call them stack sounds, which I guess is like a couple of layers to create like single sounds which you can like articulate on the keyboard, as opposed to like these kind of more loopy type things that we've been going through already. So there's a multitude of different stuff here. The arps and strings and pads here sound really cool for that kind of like retro stuff. The synths as well. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of the sounds and we can just get a reference of what we're dealing with here. Awesome. That's about it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. A big thanks to UVI for sending me this pack for the purpose of this video. And yeah, if you guys haven't yet, consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that like button if you enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Cheers.